Salam everyone, how are you all? I've been off for quite a long time, but now I'm back. I'm grateful for your concern and your heartwarming messages. Your kind words literally keep me going. I'm painting hazratbal shrine today in watercolors. I was so excited to paint it, but was also very skeptical about it. And I had different emotions at different stages of painting it. Although it was meant to be a quick sketch, but it took me several days to complete it, mostly because I was not quite happy with the sky. I literally had to drag myself to complete it. And it looks very different than the one I had on my mind, but I'm satisfied. You know, it's not easy to paint exactly what you have on your mind. It requires a lot of practice, a lot of patience, and a hell lot of skill to paint your imagination or to paint from your memory. I've spent a little more than 2 years at university, and during that time, I have had a chance to visit this beautiful shrine quite a few times. The hazratbal shrine is a Muslim shrine in hazratbal, Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir. It contains a relic, the muqqadas, which is believed to be the Prophet's hair, peace be upon him. The name of the shrine comes from the Farsi word hazrat, meaning respected, and the Kashmiri word bal, meaning place. Thus, it means the place which is given high regards and is respected among the people. The Hazratbal shrine is considered to be the holiest Muslim shrine in Kashmir and is located on the left bank of the famous Dal. The relic was first brought to Kashmir by Sayyid Abdullah, a purported descendant of Muhammad, peace be upon him, who left Medina and settled in Bijapur near Hyderabad in 1635. When Sayyid Abdullah died, his son Sayyid Hamid inherited the relic. Following the Mughal conquest of the region, Sayyid Hamid was stripped of his family estates. Finding himself unable to care for the relic, he sold it to a wealthy Kashmiri businessman, Khwaja Nuruddin Ishai. However, when the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb came to know of what had transpired, he had the relic seized and sent to Khwaja Muinuddin Chisti at Ajmer, and had Khwaja Nuruddin Ishai imprisoned in Delhi for possessing the relic. Later, he realized his mistake and decided to restore the relic to Khwaja Nuruddin Ishai and to allow him to take it to Kashmir. However, Ishai had already died in imprisonment. In 1700, the relic finally reached Kashmir along with body of Khwaja Nuruddin Ishai. There, Inayat Begum, daughter of Khwaja Nuruddin Ishai, became a custodian of the relic and established the shrine. Since then, her male descendants have been caretakers of the relic. This shrine is busiest during Fridays. People from different parts of Kashmir throng there to attend the Friday sermon and Friday prayers. When I was studying at university, there was something different with the Friday azan. It used to be different from other azan called 5 times every day. One Friday, I along with my friends were about to leave university, but we happened to look around at the Urdu book fair that was held there in 2019, I guess. Since I'm very fond of books, I could not help but buy one. It's called God Arises by Maulana Wahiduddin Khan. This book is the result of 30 years spent by the author in exhaustive research, attempts to present the basic teachings of religion in the light of modern knowledge and in a manner consistent with modern scientific method. After a thorough investigation of the subject, the writer has reached the conclusion that religious teachings are academically valid and as understandable and intellectually acceptable as any of the theories propounded by men of science. In a daily newspaper, Al-Ahram, published in Egypt, it's written about this book that in the 1400 years of Islamic history, innumerable books on Islam have appeared. There are just a few books calling mankind to God, which are clearly distinguishable from the rest because of the clarity and force with which they make their appeal. Without doubt, this book is one of that kind. And I totally agree with this statement after reading this book. It's so good. It amazed me with each and every word. This book literally made me buy more books of this author. At this point, I feel like narrating an excerpt from this book. There are innumerable examples in the Quran and in the traditions of the Prophet, which are extremely strong indications that the Quran's inspiration is superhuman. To sum up, here is an incident which occurred in England as related by Inayat Begum. It was Sunday, he writes, the year 1909. It was raining hard. I had gone out on some errand when I saw the famous Cambridge University astronomer Sir James Jeans with a Bible clutched under his arm on his way to church. Coming closer, I greeted him, but he did not reply. When I greeted him again, he looked at me and asked, "What do you want?" "Two things," I replied. "Firstly, the rain is pouring down, but you have not opened your umbrella." Sir James smiled at his own absent-mindedness and opened his umbrella. "Secondly," I continued, "I would like to know that a man of universal fame, such as yourself, is going to pray in church?" Sir James paused for a while, then looking at me, he said, "Come and have tea with me this evening." So I went along to his house that afternoon. At exactly 4 o'clock, Lady James appeared. "Sir James is waiting for you," she said. I went inside, where tea was ready on the table. Sir James was lost in thought. "What was your question again?" he asked, and without waiting for an answer, he went off into an inspiring description of the creation of the celestial bodies and the astonishing order to which they adhere, the incredible distances over which they travel, and the unfailing regularity which they maintain, their intricate journeys through the space, in their orbits, their mutual attraction, and their never wavering from the path chosen for them, no matter how complicated it might be. His vivid account of the power and majesty of God made my heart begin to tremble. As for him, the hair on his head was standing up straight. His eyes were shining with awe and wonder. Trepidation at the thought of God's all-knowing and all-powerful nature made his hands tremble and his voice falter. "You know, Inayatullah Khan," he said, "when I behold God's marvelous feats of creation, my whole being trembles in awe at his majesty. When I go to church, I bow my head and say, 'Lord, how great you are!' And not only my lips, but every particle of my body joins in uttering these words. I obtain incredible peace and joy from my prayer. Compared to others, I receive 1,000 times more fulfillment from my prayer. So tell me, Inayatullah Khan, now do you understand why I go to church?" Sir James Jean's words left Inayatullah Mashriqi's mind spinning. "Sir," he said, "your inspiring words have made a deep impression on me. I'm reminded of a verse of the Quran which, if I may be allowed, I should like to quote." "Of course," Sir James replied. Inayatullah Khan then recited this verse. "In the mountains there are streaks of various shades of red and white, and jet black rocks. Men, beasts, and cattle have their different colors too. From among his servants, it's the learned who fear God." "What was that?" exclaimed Sir James. "It's those alone who have knowledge who fear God." "Wonderful! How extraordinary! It has taken me 50 years of continuous study and observation to realize this fact. Who taught it to Muhammad, peace be upon him? Is this really in Quran? If so, you can record my testimony that Quran is an inspired book. Muhammad was illiterate, peace be upon him. He could not have learnt this immensely important fact on his own. God must have taught it to him. Incredible! How extraordinary!" I just really love this story and I thought of sharing it with you. I hope you like it. Bye bye, see you next time. And yeah, I suggest you to read this book.